Hello,
Hola.
good morning, Rene. Hello, how are you doing
Hola.
today?
Buenos dias, Magia.
Buenos dias.
How do I say buenos dias in Polish? Teach
Dzień
me.
dobry. Dzień dobry.
Dzień dobry.
Actually, the Polish is a little bit more complex because right now it's evening, so you should say dobry wieczór, which means good evening.
Dobre brieto. Sounds
Wieczór.
like, sounds like Italian in my head.
Ma dai, è tutto bene. Of course.
Well,
Ah,
are you ready? I saw your tree. It's beautiful.
it's beautiful.
That is a beautiful. You and the girls did a great job. It's a beautiful tree. It's very nice.
It took a lot of effort because first we had to go to a special place. We always buy our Christmas tree at a place that is breeding them, or kind of a,
Yeah, farming, like they grow them. Yeah.
yeah,
Hmm.
they grow them specifically only for this, and it's a very ecological kind of a setup.
Hmm.
And we it's a little bit more expensive, but we really don't want any kind of a any kind of a unsanctioned trees or anything like that. Okay,
Hmm.
so we really take care of it, and it's a beautiful tree. I need to maybe post it somewhere or maybe share it somewhere, but
It's
I
very
really
pretty.
like it. We
Yeah.
were choosing that in the complete darkness because I was a little bit late with the Malgosia was telling me like, "Hey, go! You need to go." And obviously, I was like, "Yeah, later, later." Then finally, when we went, it was pretty dark. So me and Zosha, my youngest daughter, we were making. Oh, Andrea is with us. Hey, Andrea,
Yes.
great to see you with us. Hey, Andrea, good, awesome.
It's very early for her because she's usually in the West. So it's like 8 in the morning
Oh,
for her.
I
So
hope she's
yeah.
having a great coffee already. Yeah.
Great tea magic. Great tea.
Oh, great tea. Is
Yeah,
tea is tea something that you can drink for in the morning to wake you up?
of course.
I'm just teasing you.
Yes.
Uh,
I do need
so
to send both of you. I'm very late sending my well, but so I was telling Magic the story. You're an early bird, yes. I was telling Magic the story that um, in Puerto Rico we celebrate Three Kings Day as our bigger celebration, not really Saint Nick or the Three Wise Men or
Epiphany.
yeah,
Epiphany?
the Epiphany. And so I generally send my packages after Christmas so that they get there in time for Three Kings. And it just so happens that it helps me avoid all the crowds at the post office.
Oh yeah, you're lucky. You're lucky. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. I had a terrible experience at the post office on Tuesday, but this is
What's that?
only once a year. Only once a year when everybody goes there, and obviously, the system is not ready for this. Anyway, yeah.
For the capacity, but for the capacity spike. So that's interesting, right? Because we talk about this too. The show isn't about um, technology transformation or digitization or anything along those lines. But we talk about that in technology, right? When you basically buy extra capacity in your environments so you can handle the peak seasons. And generally, that tends to be a waste because you're paying upfront for capacity that you only use once a year. Um, so, for those of you in tech or you're using tech, go and talk to your technology specialist to help you save money. And Andrea, you're sick. I'm so sorry. Yes. And
Oh,
you drink that tea, and also common misconception, honey, you want to take the honey in the spoonful, not dilute it in the tea, because
okay.
otherwise it doesn't coat your throat. But
In Poland, we use milk combined with the garlic and milk and honey, kind of a
garlic.
mix this, and yeah, it helps because garlic typically is antiseptic, so helps with the
Huh.
throat. Yeah,
Look at that. We learned something new. So, Andrea, try some milk and garlic and honey. I'm
yeah, like a
sorry.
mixture,
It
mixture.
sounds a little bit difficult to swallow, but
Yeah,
try it.
put a lot of honey because garlic is not that, and avoid doing that before Christmas dinner because then saying hello to others with a garlic bread is not the best. Okay.
Well, so
We have
yes,
nine. We
yes.
have at least 9, 10 people
No
on the
thanks.
live stream. So I
She'll
don't
stay
know
with
who
her
else.
with her with her
So
cold.
who else is there? Anybody else is there? Anybody else is
Yes,
watching
say
us,
hello
or
to us.
say hello to us if you're planning to say. I know Jose Alias wanted to be there with us, and there were some other people that accepted our invitation. So if you guys here, say hello. If you are watching the replay, also say hello, so we can
Yes.
respond to you afterwards. It will be great. Today we have the
My
law
favorite.
of addition, the favorite law of Renee. Renee.
Yes.
I know it's a favorite law of Renee because many years ago, when I didn't know Renee very well, and I've asked someone about this lady over there, who's the lady over there, about Renee. She told me, she introduced Renee to me, and then she said there was a very interesting comment because Renee is a manager that is very well known for working with people to accelerate them, to put them forward, to help them to be better, to better other people. So I think the law of addition is the law of helping others to become better. Correct, Renee? Is
Yeah,
that why
and
it's your favorite?
it's absolutely one of my favorite. It's about adding value, right? And making sure that you use maybe your network, your knowledge, your connections, your experience to shine a light on somebody else that has a lot of potential, and you want to contribute to them being seen, being promoted. And this law is one that I always shared with my team, and also constantly would highlight and ask them, where did you add value today? How did you add value to your teams? How did you add value to your customer, or to your partner? Right. And also, we often find ourselves in situations where we're doing too much. Right. And a technique that I use to reduce the noise is, am I adding any unique value in this equation or in this process or in this meeting that no one else can add? And if the sincere answer is no, I step away. Right? Why am I going to participate or insert myself in a process or stay in a process if I'm not really contributing and adding value? And because that could be an opportunity for someone else in my team to add value, who may know more about the process, who may know more about this specific activity, and they would add greater value. And so this is a law that I use in many different ways. I have a gazillion and one examples. But I would tell you, Magic, where it came to light the most, and I'm a little sentimental this Christmas because I don't have my mama for the first time. But what I would tell you is, when she got sick the first time and she healed the first time, one of the things I did is I volunteered with the Pancreatic Cancer Action Network, and I volunteered as a caregiver coach. And what that means is, they would the main organization would match me up with a new caller. Let's say you called in and said, "Hey, my loved one just got diagnosed. I don't know what to do. How do I help?" They would ask a few questions and then match them up to me based on if it was also their mother, if the person lived close to where I lived, things like that, right? Certain criteria. And I would volunteer my time and spend time with these caregivers, just talking them through the options of how to help their loved one through this difficult process, but also how to help themselves as caregivers. And that, I would tell you, was one of the big ways in which I felt it was so meaningful, and it was not paid. This was pure volunteer, right? At one point I had, 6 caregivers at the same time. And it's a difficult job, but it was so rewarding because they were in such a time of need and needing some hope and needing some advice. So, you can add value in many different ways. And that's one of the reasons this is my favorite law.
I do agree with you that volunteering, and you obviously had a very, very noble cause
Mhm.
for volunteering, but I would very much encourage a lot of our listeners to volunteer because it
Mhm.
helps. Uh, you're not being paid, you are basically offering what you do best, typically what you do best to others, could be in a different forms.
Mhm.
I volunteer my time serving on the board of the school of my kids,
Mhm.
and obviously, and I've been doing that for the last, I think, 8 years now. It's going to be
Mhm.
ninth year. It's the third term that I have been elected to do that,
Mhm.
uh, and it's an extremely rewarding exercise. And the same thing we've done many times at the corporation that we worked for.
Mhm.
Yes, so volunteering could be a great practice, extra time, extra learning activity. Not only that you are doing a good thing, but you are also training yourself at adding value to others.
Mhm.
Could be a good opportunity to learn something. So the law of addition, Renee's favorite law, and the one she's famous for, okay, is to advance not ourselves, but to advance others, to help others to flourish, to accelerate. And I know that you've been extremely successful. So what I wanted to do is I wanted to go through a couple of recommendations. How can we help others? Okay, because yes, caring, sharing, and lifting is definitely something that you do. And again, in the volunteering space, caring, sharing, and lifting is probably something that is extremely impactful. But there are other things that you can do as a leader. There are very specific things that people could be using as a leaders to help their employees and their peers as well, because it's not only about your employees, it's about your peers and your indirect reports and everybody else in the organization that you can help to accelerate, to lead, to support. So I'm going to start with the first one: mentoring and coaching. Renee, I think you will agree. Offering guidance, sharing
Mhm.
experiences, providing constructive feedback can significantly advance other skills and confidence, right? So it can help a lot of people with their personal growth and career development, right?
It's huge. It's huge, right? People sometimes really need to see others um, doing the activity, the behavior. You see this with public speakers, you see this with CEOs. They take under their wing one or two potential candidates that follow them around and learn from them. As social beings, we really look to others that have had more experience. When in the case of women that have children, they often look to their own mothers as an example of how to help raise their kids. It's everywhere in society. And I would say that mentoring and coaching, they're different things. They're not the same thing, right? But they're both equally valuable. And depending on the stage that you're at, your mentor and your coach, your mentor and or your coach add incredible perspective, right?
And a couple of tips for everybody listening. Okay, so first and foremost, your mentor shouldn't be in your own organization. So
Mm-hmm. Yep.
when you try to find a mentor, think about someone senior in the organization, somebody higher level. Of course, that's better. But try to think outside your reporting lines.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think that the mentorship, within the reporting lines has a flaw because there is obviously some kind of a conflict for a
Mm-hmm.
person that's going to be your mentor, could be your mentor, between what I tell you as your manager versus what I tell you as a mentor, and there's not an easy situations many times. So I never accepted a mentorship request from anybody within my direct area of responsibility. However, I would always recommend and advise and help if somebody would say, hey, Magic, would you be my mentor? Would you agree to mentor me? I would say, well, if there was somebody within my chain of command, I would say, no, I better find you somebody else. Ideally, somebody as far away from my organization as possible, for two major reasons. So you avoid the conflict of interest, but you also broaden your network. So you connect people with maybe somebody else that is very senior in another part of the organization that could offer, kind of a career development opportunities in the future. And also a different perspective, different point of view. Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah. And mentoring is also generally more longer term, whereas coaching is very specific to a skill. If you think about maybe you want to be a better speaker or prepare more impactful slides or learn how to use ChatGPT better, right? The way you would go about doing that, you would get a coach that's really good at that for a very short time. They're going to work on that very specific skill with you. In American football, we have a coach for the kicker, a coach for the offensive line, a coach for the quarterback, right? A specialized coach for every specific skill. And then you have the overall team coach, or what they call the head coach. And I know I hate to use sports analogies, but I love them because they're very applicable and very easy to understand, right? A lot of us have seen many of these sports, so it's easy to really relate.
Definitely. So one thing is, as I said, try to have mentors that are maybe from a different area or different organization to avoid the conflict of interest. And as Renee says, test out some of the other maybe skills and some of the other ideas. And the second tip that I want to give you around the mentoring and coaching is, don't be afraid to ask. Don't be afraid to ask. I mean, if you don't ask, you don't have a chance to get a yes. And you will not annoy a senior leader by going to him and saying, could you be my mentor? You are not going to annoy anyone. The worst thing that can happen is he's going to tell you, I don't think I have the capacity, or I don't think that I'm the right person, or let me, the best thing that can happen is he's going to say yes. The worst thing is he's going to say no, but the middle answers as well, like, I cannot do that, but let me connect you with another person that would be perfect for you. Okay. So just go and ask. So don't be afraid to reach out to the senior leaders in your organization, in your company, and just say, hello, would you mind, to do that? And once you get a yes, it's super important to be always prepared and take advantage of it in a very, very professional way. Yeah. I think I've seen several different situations. Very few times I've seen people that were assigned to me as a mentees, but it happened that they were just not prepared for the conversation. Because when you get a mentor, when somebody agrees to mentor you, it's not that your mentor will be prepared he's not going to give you lessons in a way. It's going to be something about your problems, how he is recommending you to solve it, or your challenges, or your ideas that need to be, you are looking for a solution, and he's going to help you to find a solution, but he's not going to design a curriculum, a teaching curriculum. It's not a teacher, it's a mentor. It's a different type of a thing, right?
Yep. Correct.
Yeah. So, kind of get someone from out of your chain of command. Don't be afraid to ask. And then the third tip, I guess,
set the agenda. Yeah.
Set the agenda, be prepared, and then run it. And many corporations actually offer mentorship programs, and maybe obviously volunteer for that, because it's only going to give you advantages. The best time investment. Okay, we covered mentoring and coaching. What else can you do to advance others? Empower and delegate. Give others opportunity to take responsibilities, make decisions. Uh, it will build confidence, skills. It will also show that you trust them and their abilities in doing some stuff, and I think this is one of my favorite things, empowerment and delegation. Not because I want to dump stuff on people,
Mhm.
it's because I truly believe that it's the collaboration in the team that is going to get the team to do what they need to do, and it's going to make the 2 plus 2 equals maybe 15 or or 17 or something equally crazy more than when you try to do it yourself. Empowering and delegating, right, Rana?
Yeah, especially as you continue to grow in more and more senior roles, right? Your job continues to evolve, and it's really more around empowering those that are working with you, for you, around you, um, to be in their strength area. Remember that as you continue to go up the corporate ladder, you're further and further away from the day to day activities, and you become less of an expert in any one specific area. You really now have to be more looking at the end to end, and the more you look at a higher level, the less clarity you have at a lower level. And that can frustrate you if you try to control all the micro pieces, because that's not your job anymore. Your job now is to really make sure that the people that are working in your organization have the right resources, the right support, the right infrastructure to help them deliver their message and their whatever their task is that's going to help the entire organization. So you become now more of an advocate for their work, but not really the everyday decision maker. All of that you've delegated, because ideally you've hired the right talented person to undertake those activities. So if you hire great people just to tell them what to do, that's a bit of a waste. You hire great
Exactly.
people and you let them do what they do.
I like what you said. You're going to be really upset, but what is even more problematic, I think, in this situation is you're going to actually make your people upset.
Yeah.
Because if you're going to try to control every step that they make, it's uh, you're going to be overworked and they're going to be
Mhm.
overwhelmed
Yeah.
and not very happy about this. They're not going to feel they are trusted. They're
Hmm.
not going to be able to increase their ability. They have to be able to take some risks, some well calculated risks under your supervision, advance, and support. That's for sure. So it's nobody is saying empowerment and delegation doesn't mean that you completely let go and forget about it, right? You still
Yeah.
remain responsible, accountable for the
Right.
final performance of your organization, but you're not accountable for every step.
Hmm.
And one more thing that I always say is, look, many times what is important is the outcome at the end of the day,
Hmm.
not how the outcome is achieved.
Hmm.
And empower people and delegate to them the outcome, to deliver the outcome, and you will be surprised how well people will deliver and how creative they will become and how many new ideas they will share with you that you didn't even think about.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
maybe some of the ideas initially will look to you like they are not really the best, but you will see that over time, maybe the outcome as they get evolved and developed, you might
Yeah.
actually end up having a much better outcome that you thought possible, which is the best situation in the empowerment and delegation that you can even imagine. Okay,
Hmm.
getting the outcome out there, agreeing on the outcome, and then seeing somebody working for you over deliver on the outcome. I think it's the best for you and for the person working for you.
Yeah. It is important, Magic, that they understand the boundaries, right? We don't want them to go bribe a government official to win a deal. right?
Yes, of course.
So, and I think that's the part where, you know, unfortunately, there's been some leaders. I'm not going to get into too many politics, but some politicians in recent memory that say, "Oh well, yeah, I was in charge, but I was listening to so and so who was the expert in that department," and then you try to push blame to different places, right? Because you either did not do a good job of setting the tone or clearly stating, hey, this is the way we do business, right? Within these guidelines and with these values. So empowering and delegating does not mean that you brush off your accountability, like Magic said. It means you're still accountable. You're still, the person responsible for that organization, but you want to make sure that your people are really empowered and in charge of being able to forge ahead with
But
clarity.
this has something to do with the values that you teach the organization,
Correct.
right? And then
Correct.
and we're gonna talk about this later on.
Yeah.
Representing the values by yourself.
Yep.
This is where you need to build this framework and this trust and the good
Yep.
understanding of how this organization operates. But then you delegate, you still
Yep.
control. Every now and then you
Mhm.
have those frequent conversations with people, but not control every step.
Yep.
And not tell people how to do it, but agree. And again,
Mhm.
I'm going to stress this: is don't tell people what to do. Agree with them what to do.
Yep.
It's a much better situation, in my opinion,
Mhm.
and it will deliver a much better results.
Yep.
Next topic, or next way of adding value to others is to celebrate and recognize their achievements. We spoke
Mhm.
about it last week.
Yep.
That celebration is important. No matter how small the success is, it should be celebrated. It boosts the morale and encourages further effort. And special attention should be made to public recognition. Public recognition. Every team meeting you have, make sure that you add a couple of recognitions, throw in a couple of recognitions, either formal or informal.
Mhm.
Tell others, tell everyone about the people that have done a good job. Highlight them and celebrate them. Recognize them and celebrate them in front of others.
Yeah. Magic, it's funny because, I work a lot with millennials and now the zillennials. And I work with a lot of Generation X managers like us. We're Xers. I work with some boomers as well. And they express a lot of frustration with millennials and zillennials wanting recognition and celebration of every little achievement all the time. And I would say that, consider that this is an area where, as Xers and boomers, we just kind of put our heads down and did our jobs.
Okay.
We loved it when people celebrated us, but we didn't grow up in an environment that celebrated as much. And it doesn't mean that we have to give a prize for the millennials or the millennials showing up at work, because often I hear that's why I give them a paycheck, right? But the point is not that. The point is that people like to be seen and appreciated for their values that they bring to the team. And it's important that you let people know that you care and that you see them and that you recognize that they're accomplishing these things, right? And so it's really, I really would urge those people that are a little bit frustrated with this concept and maybe these generations that we have to reward them for everything. It's not that. It's not reward for the sake of rewarding. It's really making sure that people feel seen for their unique accomplishments and contributions to the team. And I would invite people to think about, maybe in our generations that didn't happen often enough, right? So
I, I will make two comments to
yeah.
this, Renee, from my own experience. So first of all, I like recognition. I like to recognize others.
Yeah.
I just think this is a very, very powerful tool. And Chuck Smith has told me your role is to understand what people do well and tell
Yeah.
them.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Chuck, you're probably not listening to us. I can he's been
Yeah.
one of the really really good managers of mine, and I will carry this. And the really powerful element in this, and this is for all those naysayers, I'm gonna say celebration has one more hidden powerful element. The people that haven't been recognized and celebrated, they know about it.
Mm-hmm.
So you're kind of giving them a little kick without really doing anything bad, without having to tell them that they've done a bad job. And within this new generation of employers, this millennials and zillennials, whatever,
Mm-hmm.
I think this is becoming even more powerful because the
Yeah.
guys that you're gonna encourage and recognize, the others being used to being recognized, they will miss that, which is going to be the
Fuel.
painful,
Yeah.
the yeah, it's going to be a problem in itself.
Yeah.
So it's a great tool. Think about this as a great tool for you to nudge the ones that are not doing a great job by telling the ones that are doing a great job and setting also a certain framework of what you recognize as a good job done.
Mm-hmm.
If you have 5 sales reps and one of them is making, I don't know, 200 calls and the other one is making only 100 calls,
Yeah.
you be very specific. George did a great job today. He's made 200 calls today to customers. Okay,
Yep.
the guy who's done only 100, he
It's
hasn't
like,
been recognized, and
yeah.
he knows what he needs to do to get recognized tomorrow.
Yep.
Maybe they're smart people. Generally, people are smart. And the second comment that I want to make right now on this is, I think my challenge, and this is my problem that I'm constantly struggling with,
Mm-hmm.
being super transparent to everyone, is I don't take recognition very well.
Mm-hmm.
This is where the problem is, I think, with us, with our generation, Rene, at
Yeah.
least on my
Yeah.
side.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like people tell me that I've done something really, really good. Sometimes I don't know how to behave and how to react
Mm-hmm.
to public recognition. I kind of want to brush it off and move on.
Yeah.
Okay, I like it. I'm not saying I don't like it. So
Mm-hmm.
if you think I deserve recognition, please recognize me for all my future bosses. Okay,
Yes.
no problem with that. But I think there is also this kind of public recognition is I see people flourishing when they get recognized. Always feel like I feel a little bit ashamed that I was recognized,
Embarrassed. Yeah.
even though I know that I deserve it and I like it. Okay, so I think we should also recognize the my generation of people as much, even though they might not show so much gratitude for
Yep.
this. Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
I had a great piece of advice from one of my mentors. Uh, he basically told me, say thank you. You get recognition, say thank you and accept it. Don't
Great.
question it. Don't try to play it down. Don't try to say, oh, it was nothing. Oh, it was, everybody else. No, no, yes, of course, there was teamwork there, but say thank you and accept it. Because also, when you talk down your own accomplishments, that's a negative, you're sending a negative example to your own people and to others that are watching your behaviors. So just say thank you, Magic.
Thank you.
There you go.
Okay, next recommendation, next advice: resources and opportunities. And Rene already spoke about this. Access to tools, training, opportunities that help the others grow in success. As a manager, you're not there to control everything that they do. You're not there to tell them, to overwhelm them. It's resources, trainings, education, whatever they need to be successful. That's really your job, to empower and enable. I think it's the right
Yeah, yeah. Enable.
enable is to enable people to do better, to be better.
Mhm. This is funny, Magic. I was watching LinkedIn this morning. I was kind of scrolling on a few things, and I love Simon Sinek. And Simon Sinek pops up and says, hey, And I had never seen them do this before. It was funny. He's like, "Oh, there's only a few days till Christmas, da 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 da." And he talks about how he's really bad at Christmas because he doesn't, plan ahead like me. And what he was offering said, if you need a last minute gift, go to my website and buy one of my courses for someone that you care about and gift them that, which of course was promotion, right? So people can
Mhm.
go and buy his courses, but his courses are great. And if you really have a mentee, right, or someone that you care about, gift them the gift of knowledge, right? I remember one year I had one of my great mentees. She wanted to do something for me, and she's like, "What do I get this person that has, like, what do I get her? She's done so much for me." She got me a weekend retreat with a very famous yogi so I could learn how to relax and meditate. That was the most amazing and unique. It was an experience. She gifted me an experience that really helped me kind of be mindful and focus, and I love her for it, and I will never forget. So there you go. Many ways of providing resources and opportunities.
Yeah. So think about this. If you want to advance people, you provide them the right resources. You kind of remove the constraints and you provide them opportunities to grow. It's one of those areas where you could advance your employees, your team members, your peers, and others. Next one, another of my favorites, collaboration. I totally believe uh, in a collaboration, in a
Mhm.
teamwork. I believe people bring, especially as a leader. I said it many times. Your team is like a box of puzzles. You need to kind of put many different pieces together, and you
Mhm.
want to have a diversity. You want to have different points of view, but you want to put them together and make sure that they collaborate. So
Yeah.
if people have a different ideas or different approach, they
Yeah.
don't fight with each other, but they learn from each other. Uh, that typically brings new innovative ideas, especially when you do the brainstorming. The more diverse team you have, the more creative ideas you're going to have, and the
Yeah.
more creative ideas and solutions you're going to get at the end of the day. So collaboration I think it's super critical.
Yeah.
And as a leader, you should drive that. Yeah, encourage
And
that.
Magic, one of the things that Andrea, who's on the line with us, and also Autumn, Cassandra, Teresa, Robert, yourself, right? A lot of people
Thank
in
you.
my network that really have encouraged me through my transition, my career transition, and really helped and actively collaborated to say, okay, Renee, um, let's, this is, I'm going to introduce you to this person or that person. Christina Maria Martin from Optim. I mean, just so many different people that have been so generous and collaborative. James from the Science House in New York. I mean, I could keep naming the people, right? And it's really around this concept of mega collaboration. Um, and they've added so much value this year to me personally, and the changes, and but also I see how they add value to so many other people. This lady that you did the LinkedIn broadcast with, that you've been on a couple of times in Poland, um, which I encourage everyone, even though it's in Polish, you can just put your Google Translate thing and it'll tell you. But it's awesome because there's something immensely powerful, especially in today's world that's so virtual. And oh, Andrea, thank you. Andrea just said that I'm an important part of her tribe. Thank you. I appreciate that. And it's something that you can't put a price on it. Collaboration amongst your team, your peer group, your family members. It's important in everything we do. And so I really make sure that you are, as a leader, encouraging those around you to collaborate.
Yes. One of the things that I absolutely and again, yeah, I remember us reaching out beyond, our own
Mhm.
organization. I mean, that this is how we got
Yeah.
to work
So much
together, right?
done. Yeah,
Because
exactly.
we haven't worked in the same team, in the same
Right.
organization. Only in our last jobs we worked
Yeah.
in the same team. But over the years, we worked in a different organizations, different. Even I worked in the worldwide. You worked in the North America, but separate organizations. Then we got a little bit closer, then
Yeah.
further away. But we always collaborated, and,
Yep.
and I think this is yeah. I mean, we keep staying in touch, even though we left our jobs.
Yeah.
For the last couple of months.
Yeah.
Okay, another one that is super super important, and how can you help people advance? Surprise, surprise, offering support during challenges.
Hmm.
Uh, I think offering help during difficult times,
Yep.
sharing workload. I think I've seen so many situations within my organization and this is where trust is super important, because
Hmm.
if employees come to you and say, you know, somebody in my family has been sick and I need to
Right.
take an extra care. I'm going through the divorce, or
Yep.
my kids are having a rough time right
Yep.
now. They are doing
Yeah.
the graduating, whatever. You need to offer help. You need to offer to share the workload. If you
Hmm.
if you have a right team, right organization, and the trust in the organization, there's nothing to hide, and you
Right.
can share with others, and then the team will pick the one for you, and then the next time you will pick for someone, and offering the support and understanding is
Hmm.
something that will help people to go faster,
Yeah.
to recover and go faster. Yeah.
And I think, we saw a spike in this during COVID, which
Oh yeah.
was which was a I would say one of the positive things of COVID. But at the same time, as we've exited COVID, I've seen a bit of a decline on
Hmm.
some of this, right? Where people are like getting forced to go back into the office, or, um, you know, there's still a lot of dynamics that existed before COVID, like trying to balance childcare or elder parent care or other things in work-life balance. And I think some employers, and we've seen many of them in the press, have lost sight of the fact that during COVID, what people did is they were almost forced into a work life integration because there was no choice.
Hmm.
And that allowed them to also find new ways of accomplishing work life balance. And now, by trying to force people back into the workforce, into working in a particular building every single day and having to spend X amount of hours commuting, etc., that's putting a lot of stress and challenge on these employees. And we're seeing some disengagement. The data is quite alarming. Some of the disengagement, some of the people opting out of different roles. So I would encourage leaders, again, I think face to face is super valuable. You need some of that, in some intervals, but do you really have to have it every single day of the week, right? At the expense of your employees' mental and emotional health and life balance?
First of all, Renee, I think it has to be a gradual story.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if somebody is 5 days, working remotely, and then you want to force this person to go 5 days into the office, it's probably unnecessary stretch.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not. Every situation is different,
Yes.
but most of the situations, maybe there is a gradual approach. 2 days, 3 days a week. It's
Mm-hmm.
a minimum. So that's one thing that I would encourage you to do. And secondly, at the end of the day, you are the boss. I mean, you are the boss. Whoever you are listening to us, you are the boss. So use your judgment.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it's okay to, kind of push the rules a little bit to the side if somebody has a problem.
Yeah.
Yes, it's 3 days in the office rule, but if somebody needs to go and has a certain situation at home for an
Mm-hmm.
extended period of time of 2 or 3 months, respect that.
Right.
I mean, respect that, support your employees with a special, kind of exception.
Mm-hmm.
Exceptions cannot become the rule. That's true. I fully support that. So if suddenly you manage your entire team by exception and you have a rule and everybody has an exception, it's not probably a good rule, or you are not a very good uh,
Yeah.
rule,
Judge of exceptions. Yeah.
judge of exceptions, right? But I mean, at the end of the day, be a boss and stand up for your
For your
employees, and,
people.
and stand behind them, and take the one for the team
Mhm.
by approving an exception for
Yeah.
someone who really is in need, and take time to actually try to understand
Hmm.
who needs extra situation, and how can you help. That's you. It's gonna be appreciated.
Yep.
I think maybe the biggest appreciation I had from my employees was for those kind of situations
Hmm.
when they were in need, and I understood that.
Hmm.
That is something that people really appreciated uh, uh, in me as a boss, and I will, whenever I will go, in the future, I will
Yeah.
continue to use this judgment, that what I will try to do is understand when somebody needs help, and support, and offer it.
Hmm.
We have, I think, three more:
Let's see.
networking and introductions.
Yes.
We spoke about it during the mentorship and coaching. If
Yep.
you introduce others, I spoke to a friend of mine today, Anna Ravska. She's a really good friend of mine, and we had a breakfast today together. And she knows about my situation. She knows that I'm currently in a transition, a career transition, and she immediately started to think, hey, how about this person? How
Mhm.
about that person? What about this? Andrea, who is with us on the phone. I don't know who else is with us on the live, because nobody else said hello.
No one's saying hello. Everybody's
Andrea
shy.
was so kind, and she reached out to me and said, "Hey, how about you talk to this person and that person?" And I think, Andrea, that was extremely helpful. Thank you so much.
Hmm.
Uh, your job as a boss is to go and expand the network of your employees.
Hmm.
Introduce them to your peers. Introduce them to your boss. That's the easiest thing that you can do.
Yeah.
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 One of the things that I really liked was, I remember with George Hope, one of my really good managers as well. I would, once a quarter, I would give him a list of people that needs, going back to the public recognition, but also for the building of a network.
Hmm.
Uh, I would give George, those 2 or 3 people that I think needed the recognition and are really good and talented. And George never had a problem to give him a call and say, thank you so much for being a valuable person. On one hand, this is the recognition.
Hmm.
On the other hand, it helped both George and some
Yeah.
of my employees to expand the network, right?
Hmm.
Easy to expand the network. So again, if you are a manager, introduce the least you can do is to introduce your team members to your boss. uh, what you will get is they will not try to undermine you. Believe me, if you do this kind of stuff for them, they will be loyal to you like hell, and not try to get, to take advantage of your generosity. Okay. Next one: inclusive environment, Rena.
Yes. This is one of the reasons why I think our LinkedIn lives are different. And it's one of the reasons why I love to continue to do them, because you and I come from very different backgrounds. And I know we're leading by example when we talk about inclusion, because we openly talk about how our cultures are different, and not in a criticism point of view, just in a curiosity point of view, right? And try and seeking to understand and get a better appreciation for how we might be different and alike, and either different or alike. And so I love the inclusive environment, because it's really about making sure that people feel like they belong, not just it's okay that we're different. And I think we're lacking a lot of that in today's environment. I was Christmas shopping yesterday with my husband, and this lady was in a wheelchair, in this electronic superstore, and I realized that the hallways aren't really wide enough for someone that's in a wheelchair and then other people trying to get in and out of this aisle. And she was feeling so uncomfortable. You could tell by her body language that she was trying to feel so uncomfortable. You know, she was just uncomfortable because she felt like she was on the way and people were like, oh, why is this person on the way, right? She has just as much right as all of us to be there shopping. And I mean, that's a shopping example, but you know, I remember thinking about sometimes when we would walk into some of the offices and some of the sites and the elevators were very far away, or you know, there weren't ramps to get in and out of the building. And you know, I think about many other ways in which we could do so much better in fostering an inclusive environment. One of the things that happens here in Florida, in Miami, if you remember, Magic, you've been to Miami many times, right?
Yes.
And the traffic, all the signage for traffic laws are in Spanish and English, right? I think there's other countries in Europe where I've observed similar things,
Oh
right?
yes, yes.
And that's another example of creating an inclusive environment is, you know, be aware that you have populations of people amongst the people that live in that area that don't know any English or don't know any Spanish or don't know any German, right? So you need to make sure that you are providing an environment where they can all succeed.
Yes, and that's gonna help people because just for me, simple example, okay?
Mhm.
When I started to learn English, and then when I went and lived for a couple of years in Germany, and I started to speak a little bit of German, it was amazing for me how those differences were important in forming a better understanding and more creativity. Think
Mhm.
about this: if you know only one language, and there is a toothpaste, okay, you only know one word to describe the toothpaste, which is the toothpaste. And
Mhm.
it's a kind of you're very siloed in a way. Knowing more than one language for the same, exactly the same object, the more languages you know, the more descriptions of this specific uh, object you have,
Mhm.
which immediately opens another uh, another dimension of thinking, because there are also different connections between the words. So toothpaste in English comes from toothpaste, right? It
Mhm.
might come from something completely different in another language. Maybe
Yeah.
toothpaste is not the best example, but I've seen a situation like, uh, brakes, like when you try to stop the car, and you have the brakes, and then you have the
Mhm.
cloth, the Branson cloth, and then you have maybe something else, some other name in Polish for this. So I've observed that this kind of a different type of an approach, different languages already create the creativity. Think about how much creativity you can get when you have three differently wired brains that will
Mhm.
have a conversation about the same object, and you respect every single opinion of this.
Mhm.
And we have Kenya who joined us and
Hi,
says that she
Kenya.
loves our conversation. Kenya,
As a
welcome.
dual speaker herself,
As a dual speaker herself. You speak two languages, three languages, Renee?
just two. Yeah.
Two. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I speak English and Polish, and a little bit of German and a little bit of Russian. And I
Yeah.
can pretend that I can speak Italian. Okay.
I can pretend Italian too. So, all right.
Okay. Finally, the last advice that we're going to give you, because we are slowly running out of time, is at the end of the day, you're the boss. And if you want to show others, advance others, and add value to others, you need to live the values. You need to demonstrate,
Yes.
kind of a values qualities like integrity, dedication, empathy, because this will, your behavior will inspire others to follow your behavior. They
Mhm.
want, if you create a situation when your employees, your team members want to be like you, and then you are the role model for all the stuff that we spoke about, that's probably a very, very powerful way of lifting and supporting others and
Yep.
helping them to grow, because you are showing them the path.
Yep. Yep. And Kenya was in one of my teams, so she'll recognize that I would ask them, right? How did you add value today? And or if and it became almost like a joke. Like somebody would say, okay, I've added value today. I did my duty. I'm done. Right? But yeah, it's the best. The best. I was thinking when I read this, when you sent this, I was looking at this dog. This lady had gotten a puppy for her dog. So she got a puppy for the puppy, right? And what the whole little movie was about was how quickly the puppy learned how to climb the steps or go potty or sit or do all these things because he was observing the bigger dog do the behaviors, right? So it was, again, kind of that role modeling. So in the case of humans and leaders, be the leader that you want to have, and your people will definitely see it, and you will be a good role model, and hopefully they will follow your example.
Yes, create this situation, and this way you can
Yeah.
lift them and support them in their growth and expansion. And I think that's the ultimate goal for you as a boss. So that's those were our thoughts on the law of addition. Okay. And I think, Renee, what should we do in the last 3 minutes of our
Well,
discussion
you
today?
said you had some kind of surprise for me, so.
Oh, no, that's what I said at the very beginning. I said that the
Oh.
way that people introduce yourself to me is, this
Ah.
is someone that is making sure that
Oh,
she's advancing others. She is the
I
manager that
try.
is advancing others. She's
I try.
basically looking for a talent and
Yes.
making people be more talented every day, of her life. So that was, true to
Yes.
God, that was the description that I got you before I got to know you.
I love that. And we should tell people that you were in the server business unit responsible for, I don't know, pricing and product and stuff. And I
Yeah.
was in North America. And that's how we met for the first time. And you had these very big ideas, which we talked about a few days ago. And I think that those big ideas, were scary for some people, but I'm hard to scare. And since we've now worked together for almost 20 years and we've taken a couple of the personality assessments, it turns out that you and I are very similar on how we view the world. So I think that's why we have some things that are very different, but we make a great team because we don't get scared of the big ideas, and we want to add value to our customers, our partners. We're always at the center of our equation. How could we make the partnership better, stronger, which is what we talked about today in collaboration. And I just have to say that that's been something that I know there's evidence throughout all the years that we've worked together that all these laws of leadership that we are reviewing have really demonstrated themselves throughout our individual careers, but also our time collaborating. So thank you for being a
Very
wonderful
cool.
collaborative partner.
Thank you, Renee. Thanks everyone who is watching us today and over the last couple of weeks. Next week we won't see you because
We're on
we're
vacation.
taking a little bit. We're on vacation, but it's a perfect opportunity for us to wish you, for those of you who celebrate Christmas, Merry
Yeah.
Christmas. I hope that you have a Christmas tree ready in your house, like mine is beautiful, as we said at the very beginning. If you're not celebrating, there are some people that don't celebrate Christmas. They then take this time off and hopefully celebrate some other values or have a time to
Relax.
reassess, rethink, remeditate about the values in their life, prepare the New Year's resolutions.
Yep.
Okay, you have a New Year's resolution, Renee?
I'm working on it. I'm seriously
Okay.
working on it. They're not done yet. I'm working on my reflection. Actually, a little warning or advance notice to everybody. I will be writing a very long post on LinkedIn for my reflection of 2023 and welcome
I'm
20.
gonna read it for sure.
Yes.
And for everybody, I recommend that you have one New Year's resolution, which is to subscribe to our channel and
Yes.
listen to us every week moving forward, because we will continue with
Yes.
with with the laws of leadership and other
Topics.
thoughtful ideas in 2024. We'll try to do it every Thursday as much as we can.
Yep.
And we hope to see you in the new year, and we wish you a fantastic 2024. It's
Yes.
going to be another beautiful, fantastic year of collaboration, support, and working together.
Excellent. Happy New Year, everybody. Have a good
Happy New
Christmas.
Year. Merry Christmas.